Now let's look at the question 3, and it says that she has 5 hours to study for 2 exams today. The table below shows Nirali's expected score given the amount of time she studied for each exam. This table is the number of hours she spent studying macroeconomics, and this table is number of hours she spent studying history. So let's look at A. It says Nirali spends 3 hours studying microeconomics and 2 hours studying history. So we need to calculate her gain from the second hour spent studying history. So this is the answer for A. The first things we need to know is that the expected score is the expected output to be obtained by studying for a certain amount of time, which are grades. This means if I study for an hour and I expect a score of 40, then if I study for another hour, my score will increase by 20. So when I study for an hour to study for 2 hours, my marginal score is going to be 20. When I study 1 more hour, I get 20 points. Now let's look at B. So we need to calculate Narelli's opportunity cost of the second hour spent studying history. So the second hour of history is here, which is 60. So here's the answer. So first we need to know that if we study for about 1 to 2 hours, we will lose 1 hour for study time for the microeconomics. But if it only takes 1 hour in history, it must take 4 hours in microeconomics, which is good choice. If we spend 2 hours in history, we only have 3 hours left in macroeconomics. So the conclusion is that when we choose to learn 1 hour less in microeconomics, we will lose 6 points, which is the bad choice. So now let's look at the C. Assume that Niralis increased the time she allocates to studying history. What happens to the opportunity cost of the studying history? Explain. So here is the answer. So first of all, we need to know what is the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is to give up one thing to get another, and every decision will bring the opportunity cost. Then this question is to assume that the opportunity cost increases, and then she spends more time on the history opportunity cost, which is what she gives up, and her score in microeconomics will be lower. So here it will be 4 and 6, 8, 22, 60. So she spent more time studying history, and the marginal cost of studying microeconomics will be higher. So that's all for the C. For the D, assume that Nirali has a goal of maximizing the sum of her test score. How many hours should she study for each exam? So when looking at the marginal gain, the best choice is to spend 3 hours on the history and spend 2 hours in the microeconomics. At 3 hours of the history and the 2 hours for the microeconomics, we get a total score, which is utility, of 72 plus 82 equals to 154. And for the 2 hours of history and 3 hours of microeconomics, we gain a total score of 60 plus 90 equal to 140. And the last, at 4 hours of history and 1 hours for microeconomics, we gain a total score of 77 plus 60 equal to 137. And here is the 4, and here is 6, here's 8, and 22, 60. So goes down. And here is the 3 and 5, 12 and 20, 40 go up. So this is the answer for the part D. So for the last one, we need to use the marginal analysis. So the third hours of microeconomics here gains her 8 points, while the fourth hours of the history only gains her 5 points. So that 8 is greater than 5. So choose the additional hour for microeconomics. So this is the answer for the E.